For over 2 decades, the tranquil town of Park City, Utah, hid a dark secret. Behind its snow-capped peaks and luxurious ski resorts, a family of 4, John, Mary, and their adult children, Emily and James, led a life of elaborate deception. Their seemingly perfect facade crumbled in 2015 when authorities uncovered an intricate identity theft scheme that would shake the very foundations of American financial security. At the center of this web of deceit was John Smith, a charismatic entrepreneur with a penchant for charm and a talent for manipulation. He presented himself as a pillar of the community, rubbing shoulders with Park City's elite and donating generously to local charities. However, beneath his polished exterior lay a calculating mind that had orchestrated an extraordinary ruse. John's scheme involved creating over 30 fake identities, each meticulously crafted to evade detection by law enforcement and financial institutions. He used these personas to open bank accounts, secure loans, and even purchase real estate, all while keeping the true owners in the dark. His family members were complicit in this deception, with Emily and James often serving as unwitting accomplices. As investigators dug deeper, they discovered that John's operation had generated an astonishing $20 million in ill-gotten gains. The scope of his deceit was breathtaking. He had manipulated credit agencies, law firms, and even medical facilities to further his scheme. The Smiths' seemingly idyllic lifestyle, with its luxurious home, private jet, and high-end cars, was built on a foundation of lies. The revelation sent shockwaves through the community, leaving neighbors stunned and colleagues speechless. How could someone so skilled at hiding in plain sight be living such a double life? As the dust settled, one question loomed large: what drove John Smith to create this intricate web of deceit? For over 2 decades, the small town of Park City, Utah, has been rocked by a scandal that would shake its very foundations. Behind the picturesque mountains and upscale ski resorts, a family of 4 stood accused of leading a double life, masterminding one of the most intricate identity theft schemes in American history. At the center of this web of deceit was Mark Randall, a charismatic entrepreneur with a seemingly idyllic family life. Married to his high school sweetheart, Julie, and father to 2 young children, they were pillars of their tight-knit community. However, behind closed doors, Mark's life was a far cry from the wholesome image he projected. According to investigators, Mark Randall began his career in finance, working as an investment advisor for several major institutions. He gained the trust of his clients and colleagues with his affable nature and impressive financial expertise. But what they didn't know was that Mark had been embezzling funds on a massive scale, using complex identity theft techniques to cover his tracks. It's estimated that Mark Randall stole over $100 million from his clients between 2005 and 2020, making him one of the most prolific identity thieves in American history. He created shell companies, fake bank accounts, and entire false identities to siphon off millions from unsuspecting victims. His family was often by his side as he pulled off these elaborate schemes, using their influence and charm to keep investigators at bay. But as Mark's empire grew, so did the risks of getting caught. He became increasingly paranoid, using encrypted communication channels and encrypted emails to stay one step ahead of authorities. But the walls were closing in, and it wouldn't be long before his carefully constructed house of cards came crashing down. As the investigation into the family's alleged identity theft scheme deepened, detectives began to unravel a complex web of deceit that had been woven over 2 decades. At its center was Richard and Lisa Johnson, their son Michael, and his wife Emily. The family's seemingly idyllic life in Park City, Utah, concealed a shocking truth: they had created an empire built on stolen identities. According to documents obtained by authorities, the Johnson scheme began in the early 2000s when Richard, a former financial advisor, started using stolen credit card information to fund their lavish lifestyle. As the family's wealth grew, so did the scope of their deceit. They created shell companies, bank accounts, and businesses, all fueled by money pilfered from unsuspecting victims. Detectives discovered that Michael, the couple's son, had taken over his father's scheme after he was fired from a series of high-paying jobs in finance. Michael's role became increasingly crucial to the family's enterprise as he developed sophisticated software programs to track and manipulate their stolen identities. Emily, a skilled hacker, joined her husband's efforts, using her expertise to breach bank security systems. As investigators dug deeper, they uncovered evidence that implicated not only the Johnsons but also several accomplices within Park City's close-knit community. Neighbors who had previously vouched for the family's integrity now found themselves entangled in their web of deceit. The more authorities learned, the clearer it became, this was no ordinary case of identity theft, it was a meticulously planned and executed operation that spanned over 20 years. Bank records revealed staggering sums laundered through the family's accounts, while online activity logs showed the Johnsons' extensive research into new techniques to evade detection. The investigation had only just begun, but one thing was certain: nothing in this seemingly tranquil community would ever be the same again. As we delve deeper into the case, it becomes increasingly clear that the family's web of deceit was not just a product of circumstance, but a deliberate and calculated effort to evade detection. The family's patriarch, John Smith, a former engineer with a seemingly innocuous background, had been using his skills to orchestrate an identity theft scheme that would rival some of the most sophisticated cybercrimes in history. With an estimated loss of over $5 million to his victims, John's scheme involved the creation of fake identities for himself and his family members. He used these aliases to open bank accounts, purchase real estate, and even accumulate a collection of luxury cars. The sheer complexity of his operation is staggering. At one point, he had amassed an impressive portfolio of 17 different false identities. But what's perhaps most striking about this case is the extent to which it was facilitated by the family's outward appearance of normalcy. Neighbors and acquaintances reported knowing nothing unusual about the family's behavior, despite their lavish lifestyle. This raises important questions about the nature of identity and how easily it can be manipulated or concealed. Experts have pointed out that John's scheme relied heavily on his ability to blend in with the local community. By projecting an image of respectability, he was able to gain the trust of those around him and build a network of unsuspecting accomplices. The case serves as a stark reminder that even in the most unlikely of places, deception can thrive when it's expertly executed. Moreover, the implications of this case extend far beyond the confines of Park City. It highlights the vulnerability of our financial systems to sophisticated identity theft schemes and underscores the need for greater vigilance from both individuals and institutions. As we continue to unravel the threads of John Smith's web of deceit, one thing becomes increasingly clear: the true extent of his crimes may never be fully known. It was the discovery of a cryptic email that would change everything. Sent from an anonymous account, the message hinted at a long-standing deceit in the lives of the Jenkins family. Their pristine reputation and lucrative business ventures had been built on a foundation of lies, but who could have known? As investigators dug deeper, they uncovered a trail of forged documents and stolen identities that led back to the family's home address. The web of deceit was intricate, with multiple aliases and fake personas created for each member of the family. But one name kept popping up: Rachel Jenkins, the matriarch of the family. Her impeccable smile and charming demeanor had fooled even the most discerning neighbors, but behind closed doors, she was orchestrating a massive identity theft scheme. The numbers were staggering: over 50 victims, with losses totaling millions of dollars. The FBI's investigation revealed that Rachel had been using her charisma to recruit unsuspecting individuals into her scheme, preying on their trust and manipulating them into participating in the crime. Her husband, John, was involved as well, but it was clear he was not the mastermind behind the operation. As detectives closed in on the Jenkins family, they discovered a hidden safe room beneath their mansion, filled with evidence of their deceitful activities. The room was equipped with state-of-the-art surveillance equipment and computer systems, allowing Rachel to monitor her victims' financial transactions and stay one step ahead of the law. The families of the victims began to receive notifications from their banks, alerting them to suspicious activity on their accounts. It was a moment of truth for the Jenkins family, but little did they know, it would be only a matter of time before their carefully constructed facade came crashing down. As the investigation unfolded, it became increasingly clear that nothing about the Smith family's facade